Are you okay there?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Don't forget to also go find us on the Twitter. Actually, no, sorry, we're on Twitter. Go find. I get so confused. This is too
We're
much
on, we're on
technology.
all the things now.
We're on all the things. Just go find us at Hollywood Matrimony and check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. It's down there on the bottom somewhere. Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you go like, share, subscribe, follow, thumbs up, send hearts, send bubbles, whatever it is that you do. I need to turn Godzilla so y'all can see him better. He deserves a better angle in life. I think that's it for me, man. What do you got to say as your introduction, your words of welcome?
We weren't here last week.
We weren't, sorry. Things happened, but we're back from outer space. So we got some movies to catch up on from last week. We've got some new stuff from this week. There's a lot happening. Let me turn off my phone, make sure it doesn't make noise during the show. It's like that person at church when your phone goes off. You don't want to be that guy where everybody's like, oh, who was it? Because that's embarrassing.
And I'm always like, if I'm somewhere and my phone goes, everybody's like that to you, unless it's like highly inappropriate, but if it's just one of those things you can't help it, and everybody's like, I'll be like, what?
Don't be that guy.
I am that guy.
Okay, I have no idea if this just shared. I think I might have just shared it twice. Who knows?
Well, you probably didn't.
Guys, technologies. Oh, I did. I shared it twice. It's so nice. I shared it twice. All right. Okay.
On what?
Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it. Do it. Okay. I gotta tell people, come watch our show. Edit. I don't know why it didn't let me edit.
Anyway, so we missed last week. We just had so much going on and things were happening and things like we just decided, you know what? We're going to have to take the week off, even though we had a plethora of things to discuss. So we're going to try to still do most of what we were discussing last week, but we're going to probably bypass a few of them because some of them were like filler. You know, I'll pick items sometimes that are filler reviews that were just stuff we may or may not really talk about, but we didn't have anything else to say. And last week would have been one of the big reasons was we'd only saw one movie together, so everything else was just going to be me. And while I know everybody would much rather just listen to me talk for an hour or 2 hours,
yeah,
it was like,
who wouldn't?
You know, let's just wait for next week, which is today, and then we have more things that we've actually seen together, and still better than them. So.
All right, I'm gonna just start here. We're just gonna go down the line.
All right.
Are you ready? All right. We're starting with a movie that came out a few weeks ago. This is the movie Fall. And it's the one where the girls climb that ridiculously tall tower. And of course, you know they're going to get stuck up there. And
I didn't know they were going to get stuck up there. I thought they were going to fall.
Well,
because it doesn't say stuck. It says fall.
Well, no spoilers.
Well, it's called Fall. That's
I'm just telling you they get stuck, and I'm not telling you what happens after that because no spoilers. We're not like that.
This is one of those movies I wasn't overly excited to see. I was more interested on how they pulled it off to really sell it. Would it bring that tension? Does it create that fear of heights mentality of while you're dealing with it? Because it's really hard to pull off a movie when you have to deal with not only one location, but when it's a very location that's very limited to what you can do anything with. You know, you got to rely on a lot of the acting and but still be creative because after a while it just gets mundane. You know, at some point you're just like, a movie like this, it could get to the point where you just like, well, just jump, please end this movie and jump. You know,
Yikes.
Thankfully, I didn't feel like that was this movie at all.
No, I thought it was very creative because we are in a small space. I did at moments get that like ooh feeling, you know, that you're so high up. And I'm not necessarily afraid of heights, but this is dumb. What these girls did was just dumb.
Well, I found it interesting. I don't remember if I read or watched the thing about them making it, and they basically, if I understood correctly, they're about, I don't think it was like 100 feet up or something, but they set it on the side of a mountain, on the top of a mountain.
Oh, where so they actually were?
Yeah, they were actually on there. So then it made the illusion of it being higher up. So when they shot it at that 10 feet or 100 feet or whatever it was, you had that really high
that feeling
skyline.
Yeah.
So it made it feel like you're higher up in the air.
So in the movie, they're climbing a old TV tower that's 2,000 feet off the ground, which, okay, that's just dumb.
Well, and the movie actually
How many
the movie
stories
kicks
is that?
off with a very cliffhanger
Yes.
element, like
Oh
the
my
Stallone
gosh.
cliffhanger moment where something happens in the middle of a climb because they're climbers. That's kind of their thing, thrill seekers, if you will. An incident happens. It's kind of the cliche thing, and then one person's affected, the other person's not. Blah blah blah. It's all the same kind of stuff you've seen before. But what makes this stand out is one, climbing that kind of a tower with such a small confined space.
Yeah.
It's
like 100.
But also there's some interesting twists and turns that you might see coming. She figured some stuff out early on.
Yeah, and the thing, I try not to spoil it. So the thing we do, or what I normally do, is I
write
a note
it down so that
at that moment. I'm like, I figured it out.
She writes it down not because she doesn't want to spoil it. She writes it down so she can say that nobody can argue with her that she was right.
But also, I'm not.
I don't know who she's fighting with about this.
I'm just making sure.
Like,
I'm
if you tell me you figured it out, I will believe you.
Okay, but I'm also writing it down and throwing it down.
I know. She thinks she's in some weird game show.
Threw down the gauntlet on that. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good story. It's about two best friends, but I mean, there are some problems with each of their relationships that they've had, and so it all kind of, when you're stuck on a tower with someone, I think you have the opportunity to figure out your issues. And it did at one point kind of freak me out.
Or you push them off and be done with it.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it did freak me out. They were on a space probably just like this big.
Yeah.
The two people up in the air. And, you
know, there are some elements
freaky.
that, of course, when you watch a movie like this, you know that are going to be like completely believable. That really, would they have survived that, or could that have pulled that off?
I know, you were just like, that's not possible. You
have to kind of suspend disbelief on some level, because there's a big issue in another movie we're going to talk about today. There was my only issue with the entire movie, and it's probably like, you don't have an issue with all this other crazy stuff that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's the Hulk pants theory. Sometimes you just got to not talk about it.
You just got to deal with it.
Let it happen.
The one thing that's interesting, and I don't know if you had an issue with this. So they're in the desert. And at some point, when they're walking up to the tower, they see those vultures. These vultures are huge.
Yes, vultures are huge there.
Oh, I guess I don't realize that
it is a bird of prey.
They're They're probably this big. They're giant.
Yes, vultures are huge.
And at one point, they're up.
Did you think a vulture was like the size of a finch?
Well, no.
I'm a vulture,
But I've never been like close.
You've seen a vulture in person.
Have I?
At the zoo.
At the zoo, and it freaked me out.
And you said the same thing when
that
you saw it
and
at the zoo.
Eagle, a bald eagle's really big.
I'm aware.
Oh my God, so scary. Anyways, they're climbing so high. If you see, there's like vultures circling them. I'm just like,
that's the one thing that didn't even surprise me in this movie. I'm like, oh, badass vultures.
I was like, no, not today, vultures. But I'm just, anyway. I thought it was a really good movie. Because
anytime you get concerned about the vultures, just think about the cartoon when they go.
That's true. No, but when it's a movie with just two people in a very small, isolated space, they better be good. And they were really good. These guys were really good.
I think the movie worked well.
They were
way better than I thought it would be. The twist to it was kind of fun and clever. They did some things that I could see being about the only way you could figure out how to try to survive something like that. I know you might be like, well, why didn't they just climb back down? Well, that's part of the storyline. Mm-hmm. We can't tell you that. And there's some kind of, it's not a horror film so much as it's kind of a thriller. I guess some of it's
suspenseful
thriller / a little action.
It might be horror for people who are really scared of heights.
If you are afraid of heights, I think this, or if you're prone to panic attacks and stress, then I think this is the kind of movie that can probably really mess with you.
Yeah, I feel bad. So
just because there's a lot of those moments of looking down and you see how far high up they are.
When I was going to ask, did it freak you out? You're a little more about heights than I am.
No, I'm not. My issue with heights
I'm just afraid of falling and dying. But
my issue with heights is random. It's like I can be on certain things and it doesn't bother me, and other things they will. Nothing watching it on TV bothers me.
Okay, see, I was like, whoo.
I never think, oh my God. I'm just like, ooh, don't fall, But
you want to avoid things because it's high necessarily.
Not necessarily. Like, I'm not worried about being on I think my height situation is more of a secure situation. I don't like being, and I've been on things and I've done work, on scaffoldings and things like this. So
which was crazy.
I don't freeze on it. I'm not happy, but I just want to feel safe. Like I'm on something that's secure. I don't want things that sway if you're up high, like the scaffolding that I used to work on.
Yeah.
Things like that. But even that, I can deal with it. I also like being able to have control. So I'm not a huge fan of ladders. I can do ladders. I'm not a fan of ladders because I don't trust ladders.
Well, you don't trust me holding a ladder either.
I trust you for nothing.
I try.
But no, I try. I don't. And part of my ladder issue is probably because I used to jump off of ladders, so I know how easy they flip off over.
They go bloop.
Yeah, they flip if you move wrong. We have a janky ladder that you even step. Like,
oh my gosh.
We're not concerned. It's not so much of if, it's when one of the steps will just snap and you fall off of it. So
this is interesting. Okay,
yeah,
so
watching it doesn't bother me.
So the tower they're on, it says it was 2,000 feet was the thing. The Burj Khalifa is 2,722, which is
Wiz Khalifa is 2,722.
I think it's still the tallest building in it. I've been up there twice. And I'm that crazy person that's like, ooh, look how high up we are. I'm at the
would you get on that thing that they have? There's that one, maybe it's in Vegas.
Oh, where it goes out?
Yeah, where the whole building, the glass tilts and you're hanging.
That would make me nervous, but I would do it.
See, I think about some of these things sometimes. I'm like, that would be really cool. But then I'm like, I would be the one on there that today's when it goes wrong.
Today's when it's like, yeah.
Plus, I've fallen from a very high. When I fell off a shelf at work one time about 15, 20 feet straight on my back thankfully on a pile of really big boxes, but I thought I was broken and that was the end.
Yeah.
And I was in a warehouse alone.
Oh my gosh.
No one would
have found you.
It was like, I laid there for 15 minutes and no one came.
Oh my gosh.
So
man.
I'm like, I'm going to die here by myself. And then I went, oh wait, I can move. I
You
got my
were
breath
okay.
back and I was hurting. I kind of stumbled around and walked back across. And of course, what do you do when nobody comes to help you? You start yelling at them even though they know nothing about it.
It's like, where were you? Why didn't you help me?
Yeah. So anyway,
okay.
Fall. I enjoyed the movie, and if it's any testament to the movie, Stephen King even posted a thing about like he really wished he had written this.
Stephen King liked it, guys. So we like.
I don't know if he liked the movie itself or he just liked the story, but he said something about it. He wished he had written that.
Yeah,
So
it was good.
Fall is available now on Blu-ray, DVD, and if you want just like a good. It's kind of, I would say it's kind of a throwaway movie because it's not deep. It's not hard to figure out, not hard to understand. You just watch what's happening.
But there's some good, I guess, action and emotion, and there's a good story. And Papa Winchester's there.
Yeah, he has a very
all
small
you need
part.
to know.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Sorry,
people that don't know what the hell she's talking about.
Sorry, Jeffrey Dean Morgan with his cute little goatee and mustache. I think he's cute.
He has a full beard.
I know, he's so cute though.
Anyway,
I obviously have a type. White guys with beards.
Clearly.
All right. Tell me about this because I'm so sad that I haven't watched this yet. Because I love DC animated.
All right. So this next one is the latest DC animated film, Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons. So in the comics, this is an accurate, there's actually been a comic called Super Sons. And it is Superman's son, Jonathan, and Batman's son, Damian.
Okay.
Which we know about Damian. For those of you that know the comics, Damian is actually the son of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul. He was an assassin by the time he was 10 years old with Ra's al Ghul.
Well, who wouldn't be with that family?
Yeah, so he's kind of got an asshole. But so this movie is really more about Jonathan.
I don't know what's happening.
What's happening there?
I was trying to
it's really more about Jonathan and him. You're kind of seeing the origin story of him becoming Superboy or a Superboy. His powers developing. He's the son of Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And in the midst of it, it's Superman now trying to help him learn his powers, figure them out. They take him and say, hey, maybe we'll go to Batman and see if he can help you out too. So he wants him to maybe spend some time with Robin.
Yeah.
And Robin's like jerk. So he's like, there's a scene in the movie where he's like. They're by themselves, and he's like talking about powers he's developed in Hatton, and Robin's like, huh? He goes, you haven't learned to fly yet? And he just pushes him off a mountain.
Wow.
And he hadn't learned to fly yet. And so Batman's yelling at him, Superman's having to save him, it's that kind of stuff. But then something else happens, and these two have to get together and save the world.
Oh,
because Batman and Superman get taken or whatever, and so they have to kind of. So it's kind of watching them form their own bond. It's very much the Batman Superman storyline of diversity and the dysfunctional friendship that builds and starts. So it's great animation. It's tons of action. It's fun. I really dug it. it kind of depends on if you like the characters or not, because it's not a Batman Superman movie. It's Robin and Superboy, but it's not.
But that's okay.
Huh?
But that's okay.
Oh, so anyway, but if you like the DC movies, you would dig this one.
I do. Their animated features are where it's at. I know people are like, it's not as good as Marvel when their movies come out, but you know what? That's okay. I'm still sticking in. I'm holding on.
It is another one that the animation took me a minute to get in on it.
Is it a little different?
It's a little bit different. It's not bad. I enjoyed it once I gave it a second. It's not that thick line one that I didn't like. They did for a couple of movies. But it's not quite the generic one they used for the ones that were kind of part of that ongoing story with Justice League and Batman and Superman ones they did. It's kind of its new thing, but it's good. I enjoyed it.
Okay, cool.
It is available now also on Blu-ray, DVD, and all that.
Excited to watch it. All right, next. Do we want to go here?
It's up to you.
Is that too much?
Nah, whatever you want to do.
Okay, speaking of DC and their films, the latest film from DC to hit the theaters, Black Adam, starring Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock. Over to you, sir.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we all know the movie came out last week. We actually saw it at a press screening. We were all excited to talk about it last week. It was the only movie we had, but most people have probably already seen it. But we're going to give our 2 cents because there has still been some divisive stuff on it. Like, it's gotten really good reviews from audiences, not so much from critics. I, for one, gave it a really good review because I thought it was a blast. Did I have issues with it? Yes, but I still think it's a great movie. I think it's a great DC flick. I will say I was very upset. This movie's been in the making for like 10, 15 years. And when they originally announced, and this has always been Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam.
Yeah.
I was excited because they were announcing Dwayne Johnson's going to play Black Adam. So your first instinct is, okay, he's going to play against Zachary Levi's Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we get there, and it didn't happen. And then they're like, well, they're going to make a Black Adam movie. I'm like, what the hell, man? We don't need a Black Adam movie. That's stupid. I understand why they did it now. They better get their asses to Shazam or I'm going to be pissed. And then I'm going to go back and talk about how much this movie sucks. But but for now, I understand what the plan was. So now getting over that.
You've got an origin story. We can move forward now.
And I was very excited because they were going to bring in some of the JSA, namely Hawkman, who I'm a massive Hawkman fan. And you get Dr. Fate. And then, of course, you get Waste of Time, Atom Smasher, and Cyclone. So what did you think? I know you know nothing about.
I don't know anything about anything. I don't even know who Black Adam is, and you told me he was the other for Shazam, the villain. I guess the villain for Shazam or whatever. I'm just excited to see The Rock and stuff. Personally, I mean that's the only reason I was going.
Is that it?
And it's curious and funny, that no one's like, is that really him in that suit or is it padded like they did with some other people?
Well,
whatever.
He made it very clear that he was going out of his way to get in a specific shape so that they didn't have to pad anything.
Yeah, he looks good, guys. He's like, anyways. I think what I like best about this movie is not even all the superhero part. I like the origin story of back in the day, like the kid that's in there. There's another young man that's in there. I like that part of the story more. And then we get to the whole superpower thing. Fine, whatever. I agree. Those other characters were kind of, I don't know. I'm not going to say useless. I just think they were the wrong characters, perhaps, for this film.
Well, the problem is
they're real characters.
Yeah. They shoehorned in the JSA, and the entire movie could have been fine with just the ongoing fight between Black Adam and the JSA.
Yeah, but
they brought in. I think that they could have just used Hawkman and Dr. Fate.
I agree. I think that would have been enough.
I think they felt, well, if you're introducing the JSA, you can't just use 2 people. I get that.
Okay, but wouldn't you pick more well-known?
Well, Atom Smasher's a fun character to look at, and I thought visually he was perfect.
Okay.
They made him just kind of a buffoon.
Yeah.
And they shoehorned in a cameo, which was a fun cameo of who the original Atom Smasher was. I don't know why that was done that way. It was just funny to go, oh, when just talking to his dad on the cell phone.
Yeah.
Cyclone was just like, I felt like they just put them in there for comedy relief.
Yeah.
Because they just have banter.
It's
entertaining.
Moment.
It's funny. And the ongoing thing of Hawkman saying, me and you are going to have at it because Atom Smasher kept doing stuff. That was funny, but it's like, To me, they were the biggest useless part of the movie.
I think my favorite was Dr. Fate. I love Pierce Brosnan too. That's the other thing.
And he was perfection as Dr. Fate.
You tell me The Rock and Pierce Brosnan, I'm there. I don't even know anything about anything. He was so good in this movie.
Yeah, Dr. Fate is one of those characters that you kind of have to get a nuance of him, and he fits it perfect. And funny enough, in an interview, he said the thing that got him to play Dr. Fate was seeing Benedict Cumberbatch play Doctor Strange.
Oh.
They said that vibe. He's like, okay, because he auditioned for Batman in 1989 for the Tim Burton Batman.
Oh wow, and how cool would that be?
It came out that he talked about the way he basically probably ruined that audition was he goes, I don't understand why anybody would wear their underwear on the outside of their uniform. That kind of got him.
Wow. Okay.
So he had no interest in playing a superhero outside of James Bond that he played, but he said seeing Doctor Strange and he's like
he understands.
He gets in. Dr. Fate is kind of the perfect character because Dr. Fate just doesn't run around in tights all day either.
Yeah. Well, and in this particular movie, he has a really good arc. It's really emotional, and even though he's not the main focus of our film, I mean, I think he brings you in. Like his little story brought me in.
I felt like this was a Black Adam movie, but I feel like this is very much a Hawkman, Dr. Fate movie as much as Black Adam.
Okay, good. So
you're not getting origins of either of those two characters. Correct. They're front and center.
Yeah, so it was very much like he brought me into his little story. I don't know anything about any of these people.
I'll be the first to admit too that I was not happy with necessarily Aldous Hodge being cast as Hawkman. I love Aldous Hodge. I think he's a great actor, but I was wrong. He was excellent as the character. Really good. They knocked the armor and stuff out of the park. It's not exactly the way it should look, but they really played up the nth metal aspect of the character, and that works. So I love those two elements. There's another villain in the movie that I really felt like was kind of forced. And it's kind of the end result of what we're all leading to. It felt like I understood the purpose of it, but to me, it felt like here he is just for someone to fight, and then it's over.
Yeah, kind of unnecessary, but
I get the point of it, and it's a real character too. It wasn't somebody they just made up, but that was one of my other beefs. Was like he's cool looking, but it never really to me felt like a threat, despite smacking everybody around. It really was just more of a catalyst to evolve Black Adam to the different state. That we're trying to get him to for the DC universe.
Unnecessary. Anyways, it's a great movie, I think. I don't think you have to know much about anything.
No.
Did
you feel because one of the arguments people have, which is so funny because people complain just the opposite about this. Did you feel that it was too heavy on action and not enough story?
No.
Because there's a lot of people talking about because this movie is very action heavy.
Yeah.
It's go, 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 go. But I felt like they
no, not at all. That's why I was telling you my favorite part was the story part of him back in the day, like because you see it in the commercial, kind of the preview of what happened.
Yeah, and big props that they cast one of the guys from Young Rock that plays him a younger version of himself as his son in the movie in one element of the.
That's so smart. Yeah, because I was like, you get excited. But I mean, yeah, because it already exists. Why not go with it? Anyways, I thought there was plenty of story. I understood enough. I got it. And I don't know nothing.
Well, I didn't mean if you didn't get it. I'm just saying, did it feel like there was too much action and not enough?
No, I thought there was good story. I was emotional. I got all upset when those things happened.
Will say, I had
some Pierce Brosnan around.
I've had an ongoing argument and beef about The Rock's wardrobe in the film. Doesn't look like Black Adam to me.
Okay.
It's moderately like that, but they do fix it. So there's a big thing. It's funny because my son is a massive Shazam Black Adam fan, and he was able to go with us. And when you finally get the moment, kind of a payoff moment you get in these superhero movies, I kind of saw at the corner of my eye. I don't know if I told you. I saw the corner of my eye, and my son was like, "That's right, finally." There you go.
He's like you.
He saw it happen, and he's like, "All right, now it's okay now." And he's a huge Rock fan as well, so. Yeah. But it came full circle, and there's a great. It's not even a surprise anymore. You didn't know going in, but now it's public knowledge.
Okay, I'm glad.
I'm not going to spoil it, but
thank
there's
you for
a big cameo for the after credit scene. But I was going to talk about it because it's kind of set the tone of what's future come now.
I think talk about it. It's okay.
I'm gonna say it's a spoiler, even though it's not a spoiler, because
Just in case.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert is on.
So normally I wouldn't be somebody to say, "Hey, this happened in the movie," but everybody knew it was happening for the most part. It got leaked, but then the person that shows up actually put out a video already, kind of confirming the return. So
it's okay. I have the spoiler alert.
All right. If you don't want to hear who it is, if you haven't seen Black Adam,
turn off your sound
and don't know about it, mute it for about 5 seconds. We got the return of Henry Cavill playing Superman once again. And so he put out a video basically saying, I will be playing Superman officially. I'll be returning for some whatever projects are doing. And with that announcement kind of came the sad news that for people that are fans that he is leaving The Witcher after season 3. And they've already cast one of the Hemsworth. I think Liam Hemsworth is going to take his place. And everybody's assuming because now he's going to have a whole bunch of DC stuff to do. Anyway, that's the end of that discussion.
All right.
But it's going to be interesting to see because Johnson has been very adamant about trying to rebuild this DC universe. Mm-hmm. And right now we only have, technically intact, Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Then we have upcoming Flash, which we're going to get Flash recast because of the Ezra Miller scandals. And then it's a discussion of who's going to still be taking on Batman because
I loved me some
Ben Affleck.
Batman.
Well, he's coming back as Batman and Flash along with Michael Keaton and some other people. But then we have the shakeup of the Batgirl movie getting fully shelved that had Michael Keaton in it.
Can somebody else redo that? Just make a new movie?
I mean, I fear they could, but I don't know.
Change it just enough to make it.
I don't know if that loophole, if you brought in the same cast and everything back, that would be too close to.
But if you rewrote it a little, it's technically different.
Although they have said that, I believe the girl that plays Supergirl that was supposed to appear, and the girl that plays Batgirl, I think they're going to have them appear in other stuff.
Good.
So they're not ditching them. It sucks. I'm not going to get to see Brendan Fraser play Firefly. Because he was the main villain in that movie. And then, anyway, so it sounds like they're still going to rebuild the DC universe. We don't know what the direction is going to be yet. Some of the people have said there will be no Snyderverse, but the guy that's been kind of in charge of some of the DC stuff for a while now has been booted. We have James Gunn, who directed Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy and all that stuff. Ironically, after being fired from Disney for drama, taken on Suicide Squad, and then rehired to bring back to do Guardians 3, he is now officially, along with another guy, I don't know his name, they are now in charge, like the CEO, president of DC Entertainment, Warner Brothers, whatever they call that thing. So he's the Kevin Feige of DC now. So everybody's like, oh, they're going to have fights. And he posted the first person he said, I think he said the first person he told when he got that was he called Kevin Feige to tell him. And the second person was John Cena.
Oh.
Because he does Peacemaker.
That's funny.
And he created the Peacemaker show too.
So funny.
So he said Kevin Feige always put out, I'm super excited for him. I can't see what they do. But with their friendship, who knows? Maybe we can finally get some more DC's Marvel crossovers. They've done it in the comics. Anyway, Black Adam is in theaters now. It was number 1 last 2 weeks in a row. It can only mean things going up.
We hope so.
Now, get him in the Shazam movie.
All right, moving on. Tell me about this, because I wanted to see this also.
Well, it's still sitting in there. Bodies. I thought it was a straight up horror flick, but it's another one that's kind of a horror thriller murder mystery. And it's about this group of friends that come together. They're having, I don't know if they called it a hurricane party or something. There's a hurricane coming, and so they're all at this guy's mansion. And they're hanging out, but you find out very early on that they all have issues. One person that used to all be a group of friends, but one person is now kind of on the outs, and I didn't know you were going to be here. But anyways, things happen. People start dying. Then you're trying to figure out. So it's actually a pretty clever little movie. I had a good time with it. The first half of the movie is like, to me, droned on a little bit because you're just like, these people are all just annoying. They're arguing and drinking and drugs, and it's a typical teen-esque party, whatever, young adult. But once it gets into the killing and the finger pointing and the fighting and all this stuff, all for the big twist at the end, which is really great on kind of, it basically negates the entire movie, and it made it even funnier. But it's a fun little movie if you like that kind of stuff. Okay. It's one of those hard to really go into much because
it sounds fun though.
I can't spoil it. And I like the cast. Like Pete Davidson's in it. I always forget the other guy's name. That's he's Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy. Lee Pace.
Okay.
And then the girl in the poster, I don't know my glasses on, the down far corner, I believe it is.
Yeah.
She's the girl that was in that show with Kevin Bacon's wife. She played the daughter that lived with the gay guy.
Yes.
That's her.
That was so fun.
She's actually fun in it too. But anyway, it's a fun little movie, so I don't want to spoil any of it, so I'm not going to tell you much else about it. So it is one, though, I think you'll probably either like or not like.
Okay.
So it's that kind of thing. So it's available now on Blu-ray and DVD as well.
Okay. Next.
Oh, now
guys.
for something completely different.
This is the new Apple TV. Sorry, let me make sure I say Apple original film. Apple Plus. With Ewan McGregor and Ethan Hawke, and it's Raymond and Ray. This is a very curious movie. So
somewhat sad.
It's about these two brothers. They get the news that their father has passed away, and they've been asked to come to the funeral. One of them doesn't want to go, and Ewan McGregor basically convinces Ethan Hawke they need to go.
Like, one of them doesn't want to go, so Ewan McGregor convinces Ethan Hawke to go.
Yeah.
you said it like you were setting up to be a mystery who it was going to be that didn't want to go.
Ethan,
they just say who
Ethan
doesn't want to
Hawke
go.
doesn't want to go, which is Raymond? No, he's Ray.
I'd be like saying,
I'm so confused.
Someone is murdered. Well, but when they find Sam,
Ethan Hawke didn't want to go. Ewan McGregor's like, no, we need to go. It's our father. Let's go to this dang funeral.
You can tell they had dysfunctional issues.
Oh my gosh, this movie is insane because did you not do a review?
No, I haven't done to write a review for it.
They get there and they go to the reading of their father's will, and the reading basically says he wants his sons to dig his grave. And they're like, what? Literally, you want to? Isn't that the job of the funeral place? Like, we can't be out there digging in a cemetery, but the cemetery okays it.
They are.
The cemetery okays that, and that is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And then,
it's like a typical movie that deals with funerals and death and stuff. You're dealing with all the family emotions and all the stuff they're trying to come to term with, and forgiveness and betrayals and all this stuff. But then you're starting to find out all the stuff you wish you never would find out about a person, which is always the worst part of dealing with somebody close to you's dying, of finding out what they were hiding from you, finding out what they may or may not have been doing, finding out sometimes who they really were, and you had no idea the entire time. You're married to somebody for 16 years and you have no idea who they really are.
Just kidding. I love
anyway, oh, you didn't see mine. Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's one of those things. And let me tell you, it keeps it coming. It's not a single issue. It's like constantly, every time you find something, and you're like, okay, let's start dealing with that, something else happens.
Yeah, I mean,
can we say?
I just want to. Let's just say they're not the only kids that show up.
Yeah, that's an easy one. He found out about siblings.
But
there's way more than that.
And yeah, so every time someone shows up, they're like, well, now it's your turn to dig. Like every single person has to dig, and it's not just one or two, it's multiple. But yeah, like you said, that's not even the biggest thing in the story.
The story is not even about that. It's about these two guys.
It's about these two brothers specifically.
Trying to find a connection with each other, trying to find their path in life, because they both have dealing with things.
They are messed up from this dad.
Some of it's messed up from the dad, some of it's from their own life choices, some of it's stuff they think is an issue and it's really not, and they don't understand how to let it go, or they don't know how to move forward from traumas.
Oh my goodness, it's traumatic.
It's a really good movie, but it is a slow.
It's a talkie.
I know she was gonna say it, but it's great performances. It's
good.
It's definitely not one. If you have family issues, it's not one you might want to dive into.
Yeah, no, it's really deep, and it's interesting because you see how their home life affected their real life, because one of them has like a drinking problem. The other one is like living an isolated life. There's another people that ran off and joined the circus. I mean, and there's one that's oblivious to anything. And so this one person had such a profound effect on their life. And then you even get to see the dad that died. Like, we get to see him at one point, and we're like, this is so bizarre. It is the most bizarre movie about family and relationships, and the impact that relationships in your childhood have as an adult.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. And I love me some Ewan McGregor.
And if you don't
so
like,
rare.
if you don't like movies dealing with real life, this is not a movie for you.
There's some trauma here. There's some major trauma.
It's not. I thought it was going to be, when I found out it was about, they were told to dig the ground. I thought, oh, this is going to be kind of a dark comedy-esque. It's not a comedy in any shape or form. There's no laughs dark. Here. I mean, there might be a couple of laughs here and they're like life laughs, but it's not. It's really good.
It's heavy. It's dark, but I thought it was really good and really great performances. So.
And we knew nothing much about it. We just like, hey, let's watch this.
Yeah.
So we turned on Apple Plus
we like
TV
Ewan McGregor and Ethan Hawke. I mean, how can you not?
That's right.
They're great.
Stars of Star Wars and Moon Knight.
I mean, maybe in their personal lives they're not great, but I don't care. I'm just watching a movie.
Turned on them really fast. Well, all right, go ahead. What else we got?
He was the one that went off with the nanny, right? He told me.
They said that he didn't run off with the nanny. They said he dated the nanny later, but they did not have a relationship before their relationship. So they say. Who knows?
We weren't there. We don't care. All right. This movie's going on my top list.
So this next one is one that has been getting a lot of buzz when it hit the theaters, and we missed it for various reasons. And then they finally sent me a digital copy to review. Or actually, no, they didn't send me a digital copy to review. It popped up on,
it's on the
HBO Max.
On the internet.
So we got super excited to watch it. So we sat down. I knew about it. I had seen a trailer, but I didn't really know what direction going. You didn't remember anything about it.
I didn't know anything.
Even though she's seen the trailer, she didn't remember anything about it.
I don't know nothing.
So basically, it's about this young girl who comes into town for a job interview, and she had rented an Airbnb. If only to find out someone else is staying there as well. There's double rented or something.
Yeah. It's
so
creepy.
You think that's going to be the creepy aspect of the movie.
Creeper.
So not. So then that kind of develops and they realize there's more to this house and the neighborhood than they thought. That's kind of the easy way.
Yes.
And it ends up told in 2 separate stories.
Yeah.
Actually 3.
Some interconnecting stories, which I love when that happens.
It's got like a first story with these 2, then it jumps to another story, which was Justin Long. And then it has a whole nother story that's kind of the prequel to everything that's happening. And it intertwines them all to one chaotic piece of what the hell.
It is very much what the
This movie is awesome.
Okay.
I love this movie.
Guys, I was yelling at the TV the entire time. Here's the thing. When you find a hidden passage underneath your house, that's when you should pack up and leave. Because somebody is coming in.
And nothing that this, it's basically they found a room.
They found it, okay.
And that's not a spoiler alert. They find a room.
Well, you see in the trailer, she's asleep. The girl's asleep, Georgina Campbell. And suddenly she wakes up and her door's been opened and she hears footsteps. And she goes out and It the Clown is asleep on the couch. They're the only 2 people in the house, supposedly.
Okay, let's be clear. It's Bill Skarsgård. There's not It the Clown on the couch.
Sorry, Bill Skarsgård.
The actor Bill Skarsgård is the character. He's laying on the couch asleep. I know, but the way you just described that, you made it sound like she just walked into an evil clown in the living room.
Okay.
No, he was just in there, and she's like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "I didn't do nothing."
So, and then you find a secret door in your basement.
And then you got to stop there. You can't talk about anything else beyond that part.
That's the poster right there. You find a secret door and there's steps going down. What do? You leave. Leave right now.
Do you though?
No.
You go down there.
You don't, but I do. I'm leaving.
You got to explore it a little bit.
I'm leaving you.
Now there are moments of certain things. There is something prior to the door when you saw the room that would have said immediately, "Don't go beyond this point because something weird's happening here."
Okay, you even knew that it was time to go at that point.
When they showed that room, I'm like, "Oh, that is not okay. It's not time to stay in this house.
We're out."
And then when they see the neighborhood, because when she first gets there, it's pitch black, and the next morning she sees the neighborhood for what it really is. That's why, you don't come back to this neighborhood. But there's a lot of nice, interesting elements that they use. So, like, the whole first half of the film, the first act, isn't even the creepy, scary stuff, but it's the more relatable fears of this girl and this guy that she doesn't know and afraid that she's in this room with him and that's having to stay in this house with him because she doesn't know what to do. And it's very uncomfortable. Like, he makes her tea that she won't drink. And he's like, well, I guess that makes sense. Well, what if I open this and you watch me do it?
I'll open this bottle and you can watch me.
He's a really nice guy.
To make sure I don't roofie you.
But you don't know if
but
he's
by
really
telling
nice
you that freaks you out.
Yeah, but
he is a nice guy.
He's trying to be nice, and by being nice, he's creepier. and you don't know what he's up to and what's going to happen with him. And when things start going down, you're like, whoa, goodness. And it plays really on the fears of
real life.
The real life fears. But when I was reading, the writer director was talking about, like, when he started writing it, it was writing the fears that, like, the idea of what a woman feels when she's kind of in an uncomfortable situation, whether it's a bad first date or some situation like this, being in a house with somebody you can't get away from, and things like that, and dealing with that. And then it expanded into something that's totally not that whatsoever. And it's just batshit crazy.
It is. And it's interesting to me because the same, this is what I think I love about movies in general, is that the same situation with an Airbnb being double booked
could be a romantic comedy.
Yeah, because that was that movie that I watched, those people in Paris or whatever. It's like, oh, it's so cute. And in this one, the tone is like, do you want to come inside? It's raining. And she's like,
yeah. I'd be like, and it's imagine how much you change of the lighting and music makes it a different movie.
Yeah, that's what I love about movies. And this movie is really good. I was yelling the whole time because I was like, no, this is such a bad choice. But then again, I understand why people do certain things. It's curiosity.
But it does get you, like, she posted the funny statement that came out of this that she called Bobbyisms.
Yeah.
Is that she did make the argument, like she was saying a while ago, about why would you go in there if you see this, and why do you make this stuff, and why don't you just leave? And I told her, I'm like, because then every movie would be 20 minutes.
All scary movies would be 20 minutes.
At some point, you gotta.
Fine, I'll let it go.
But you also have to think about human nature. Human nature sometimes gets the better of you. Of you, like, okay, I know I should leave, because there's a great moment when she first sees it. She goes, nope. She turns around and leaves, and then she starts trying to figure out ways to light it and how to see it, which were very clever. You don't see that a lot in movies, the way she did it.
Being smart.
And trying to be like, okay, no, we can't do this. But then it became kind of she didn't think she had a choice because she was trying to help somebody, but putting herself in danger.
Well, and then you see, like, the Justin Long character, who's a completely different mentality
that was a money greed thing.
Yes, so I was like, okay, I understand.
Yeah, so it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's an
really
interesting twist.
Movie.
Now, this is the movie that I mentioned earlier in the show that had one scene that I was super irritated about.
Oh.
I take it back. I wasn't irritated, but I was like, that is so not good. No. And it involves somebody falling from a high distance and then getting up when they would have been broken back, busted. And but again, I had to let it go.
Let it go. It's a movie.
Because it is what it is. But that's the kind of thing that, like, when you see the movie and you see that scene and then you can think back what I'm just telling you, you'll be like, that's what you had a problem with? It's that. It reminds me, I've told this story, I think, on the show before, but I know I've told it many times to other people, but it reminds me when the Hulk movie came out with Eric Bana.
Oh, Hulk pants.
And somebody was bashing it at work and talking about, it's so unbelievable. It's this and this. He's jumping hundreds of miles at a time, and he's picking up this and he's doing this. And I'm like, you have a problem with him jumping around. It's a 10-foot tall green man whose pants, fit. And that's what you had a problem with, But anyway.
Well. People seem to be liking it. I mean, maybe
Barbarian is great.
Maybe
it's got
not
a lot
the
of buzz.
Internet, but like all our friends, I've seen a couple of people post
it's got a lot of good. It's got a lot of great reviews, and it's got a lot of good buzz. And it's only on digital right now. I don't think it's in theaters at all anymore, but it's only on digital. So you can.
Someone says this is a cult classic if there ever was one. It's going to be, I think.
It probably is, but I think it actually is. I think it's above the cult status level. But
I hope
but
so.
If it doesn't find the bigger audience, then I agree. That's going to be one that everybody starts finding and loving and shows their friends. And and I could see watching this one again and still having a blast with it. Even though you know what happens, it's still a blast. So, but anyway, it's on digital and apparently on HBO Max where we watched it. So check it out. Barbarian is a great movie. It is
really good.
Okay, I have to ask you this because I'm desensitized to it. But did you get scared watching this movie?
There were a couple of jump scares.
Were you creeped out at all? There's one moment that's like,
ugh. It's kind of creepy. That
cringy.
Yeah, it's cringy. Some
gross.
People are gonna get scared. There's some jump moments. There's some.
When I say it's gross, it's not gory blood.
It's not gory blood. There's no gory blood at all.
But I can't tell you what gross I mean because it would spoil it.
Like very uncomfortable. Like
uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah, that's it. But
it's not rapey or anything like that. People are worried about that too.
It's. I think this is grosser than. I don't know. It's just gross in a different way. You just
have to see it.
It's really, really good.
I really dig it. It's probably gonna be on my list as well.
And I'm gonna do a shout out to the makeups because the makeup for whatever that happens later is really good. And then there's another one with an old man.
Yeah.
So really good makeup.
And I will say
effects.
that my only disappointment I would have to say in the whole movie is the always amazing Richard Brake is in the movie, and he's got a very small part. It's a very important part, but it's very small. But I always love me some Richard Brake.
I did not update these at all.
Huh?
I did not update that at all. Oh well.
That's okay.
You'll tell me about it.
I just tell it.
Okay, very quickly, we've started a new Halloween. We always do a Halloween marathon around this time.
Like most people.
A scary movie marathon. And I feel like I've done Freddy so much and Jason and all of our major serial killers.
So we had a discussion and decided we were going to go in a different
direction.
Only because
I'd never seen these.
We came into our theater. We're going to watch a movie, and we were picking what we were going to watch. And I was all in to watch like a Friday 13th or Freddy or something because I'd already watched all the Halloweens. And then as you're like, what else we got? And I started reading through stuff, and I said it kind of as a joke.
Oh, but I was so excited.
I mean, I know you like the Edgar Allan Poe stuff, but I said these kind of as a joke, not really thinking that's where we were going with it. And here we are, diving in.
So we are watching this Vincent Price Edgar Allan Poe set.
It's actually,
or what is it called?
This is volume 1 of the Vincent Price collection.
There you go.
I have all 3 volumes that were put out by Shout Factory. aka Scream Factory.
Scream Factory.
This set has The Pit and the Pendulum, Mask of the Red Death, The Haunted Palace, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Abominable Dr. Phibes, and Witchfinder General, aka the Conqueror Worm.
So I'm excited.
These are some really cool collections they put out a few years ago. Like I said, there's 3 volumes. I think there's only 3 that I have some really great high definition. They're Blu-ray, but they're high definition visuals. And there's like a little book in here that tells about some of this stuff about the movies and what they made and Roger Corman stuff. It's really cool.
So what I like about these movies is he does an introduction to each film, and I found out we have to watch the introduction to each film.
And most of them, their intros he did for like some public access TV.
Public TV.
Like for Mask of the Red Death, it was when he was much older and talking about it. So we watched their intro with Pit and the Pendulum.
Yeah.
But not for the Mask of Red Death. And then I go, you want to watch intro? She goes, nah, move on. And then we get to the Mask of Red Death. She goes, well, now I want to know what he has to say about this movie.
Yeah. So I'm glad I did.
As I said, we've watched the Mask of the Red Death and Pit and the Pendulum. I've seen all these movies.
I didn't see any of these.
I've been a massive Vincent Price fan.
Yes, you are. Bobby, you're so funny because you're like, we're in the middle of watching Pit and the Pendulum, and you're like, you know how everybody wants Morgan Freeman to narrate their lives? He goes, I want Vincent Price to narrate my life.
Think how he narrated Thriller.
Oh, so good. Well, and just him in these movies. I mean,
he's so
classical.
Articulate.
Yes.
He's a Shakespearean actor.
Well, and that's why. Then we finish Mask of the Red Death, and you're like, his use of the English language is amazing.
It is.
It really is.
Vincent Price was a national treasure.
Absolutely. So
and he went out on a top with his final film being Edward Scissorhands.
Nice. So we watched Pit and the Pendulum. I don't know if y'all are Poe fans. I am a Poe fan.
I'm an Edgar Allan Poe fan as well.
So it's
I know,
cool.
Don't look at me. I do not look like a scholarly type person.
Anyways, we were watching. It's cool because he tells you, okay, so they had to make a story to get us to the pit with the pendulum. So it was really cool. I really liked this movie. It was so good. And the very last scene, you're like, oh, what?
And it's always like,
I love that. And by the way, I love these posters.
Yeah, they're great.
I love these old school posters and, just their little taglines. If I had a room that I could just
put these kind of posters up, I would.
Oh, so good. And then last night we watched Mask of the Red Death. So good.
This one is, I believe it was stated, this is probably Roger Corman's most well-reviewed film is Mask of the Red Death, and one of his favorite movies he made. It's also super psychedelic.
It is, but I like how if you read the story and how Poe describes each room. So the guy lives in
each death or whatever.
He lives in this castle or whatever, and each room has its own color and theme and whatever.
Yeah.
And the way they brought it to life in the movie is so cool and vivid that it helps, when you're reading, you imagine it, but then you're seeing it. And I think the only difference from what I'm remembering from the story and now watching the movie is in the movie, there's this whole level of the guy's a Satanist. So,
but that's in the story.
I don't think it is.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just him trying to cheat.
You know what? Let's read some Poe on Halloween.
We're just going to read it together, like aloud.
Yeah, you have a copy. We both have the complete edition.
I know.
It's so crazy. When we moved in,
we both got it before we met.
Yeah, but we both moved in. I had the complete works of Shakespeare and the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe, and you had a complete works of Poe, and I'm like, we have
And
2
Marilyn Manson's
copies.
biography.
Yeah, you didn't have Shakespeare. I did. I'm a
No.
nerd, but I'm way nerdy. I loved British literature when I was growing up. Anyways, but it's so cool and like bringing the story to life. I'm like, oh, so good.
He did The Raven.
Yes.
Vincent Price
Quote
did.
the
He did a
Raven,
ton of Edgar Allan
nevermore.
Poe movies.
But when you tell me Raven, I still think of The Simpsons.
Simpsons, I know.
And
Which-
Bart's up there. Nevermore.
Which, by the way,
Nevermore.
tonight is Treehouse of Horror.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have to go watch it.
And
Anyway,
for those of not trying to get too far
So
off that, but
good.
for those that may not still watch The Simpsons, but she only watches the Treehouse of
Pretty
Horror every
much.
year. I still watch all the episodes. Last week they did one called Treehouse of Horror Presents. It was called Not It, and the entire episode was redoing it.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah,
Then
it was
too.
pretty fun.
That's fun.
Anyway,
Anyways, so this was our marathon. We're going to continue because there's a lot more movies.
Yeah, so I think now we're fixing to watch.
Because you said there's 3 of these.
Yeah, I think we're watching. I think The Fall of the House of Usher is next.
Oh, I like that story too.
Yeah.
I think we should do.
So there's 3
reading.
volumes, and each
Yeah,
one has
no.
like 6 movies.
We're
going to
watch a lot. So I think we should do a reading of
The Raven.
The Raven.
Why? Just so you can scream Nevermore.
No,
Because
you
you
got
like
it.
doing that.
I remember. So I've always
I like The Telltale Heart.
Oh, that was so good. I don't know if it was that one or The Raven, but one time we had to have been maybe in 7th or 8th grade, or maybe it was high school, but one of our English teachers on Halloween like turned off the lights and just sat in the thing with a flashlight and read it. But she read so well, and it was like so creative.
I think the only way
like,
that would work for me
oh,
is if
it
Vincent
scared
Price was
me.
reading it.
She was
Because
good.
I've always struggled connecting listening to someone else read to me, even as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, people start reading to me. I'm
What
like,
about audiobook?
I don't like audio.
See, and I love all that.
I need to read it myself, and
I see.
I do much better with like visuals. I like visual. I'm an artist, so I like. That's why I like comics and graphic
See, and I
novels.
love reading and just creating.
One of my
it in
favorite
head.
all-time comics was a comic called Poe. Did you ever read that book?
You shared it with me.
Which was like, it was a fiction comic series,
Yeah.
which I still have them, but it was about Edgar Allan Poe, but he's like an adventurer, and his stories came from all the adventures that he went on.
Life. Yeah.
So it was a very clever book. I may go back and reread that book.
I'm gonna read The Raven then.
Nevermore.
Nevermore. Nevermore.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's that.
Yeah, I like the Telltale Heart when he kept hearing the. But there's nothing there, and he's just going crazy.
He's just crazed.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. Your turn.
Did you know?
Spencer.
Did you know? I always like throwing fun facts at her.
Yeah. Throw me
Fun fact. Well, one I
I'm
told you
hot
about.
right now.
I just thought I'd tell the audience
Got hot.
for the 3 people that might see this. I was reading a fact thing about Mask of the Red Death. They were talking about that one of the actresses talked to Roger Corman about a friend of hers in a band that wanted to come and see the production on set. And he's like, yeah, sure, bring him over. And so they came and watched, and they were going to be performing the next day. And he was like, had a good time with him, talked to him, but he had no idea who Paul McCartney was yet. Until the next day was the big show that catapulted them into stardom.
That's
so it was
awesome.
like a young unknown Paul McCartney was on the set of the Mask of the Red Death.
But you know what? Let me show this poster one more time.
But
I'm going to tell you one more thing. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Finish.
I'll do my other
go
fun
ahead.
fact in a second. Well, did you know at one point for years and years and years, they were trying to a musician was trying to develop an Edgar Allan Poe biography, and they were going to play Edgar Allan Poe. Do you know who that musician is?
Musician.
Is the weirdest thing ever.
Alice Cooper.
No, that almost seems normal.
True. Is it going to be like some...
Find out next week on our show. No, I'm just kidding.
Some like pop, some like mainstream pop contemporary guy.
No, it's not a current thing.
No, but back then.
Yeah, kind
like
of.
in the 70s or 80s? Or?
They were popular from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Was it going to be like a Chris Christopherson or
No,
something?
no.
Who?
None other than the late, great Michael Jackson.
What?
Yes.
Michael Jackson.
Forever it was talked about that he was going to play Edgar Allan Poe in a movie. And he was developing it.
Wow.
And everybody's like, what?
That's what I say. Like, that's interesting.
I don't know if it ever got past, if it was one of those rumor stories, if it ever got past
he
script
probably
staging.
really liked the story.
But it was always one of those stories that is stuck in my brain. The first time I hear it, I'm like,
that's bizarre.
I both don't want this movie to happen. I so need this movie to happen.
Right? Huh.
Supposedly, I think there's Sylvester Stallone's also been trying to develop an Edgar Allan Poe movie with him playing Poe. And I don't know if that's another one I've heard talk about for years. And I don't know.
See, I feel like Johnny Depp is Edgar Allan Poe.
He would be perfect for Edgar Allan Poe. But,
because that's very Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, Stallone is apparently, it gets popped up every so often about some Poe script he wrote.
Wow. Because people, I don't think we associate Sylvester Stallone as a big literature man, but
No, but I mean,
he
I also
probably
didn't
is.
expect him to stop his mama's shoot either.
That's where you went.
That's where I went.
Wow. No, I was going to say one thing about this. The other thing that I really enjoy going back and looking at these older movies is they didn't have as much technology as we have now, right? But their use of color and lighting is so vibrant that you forget that it's not like this cool, massive green screen set. The
They're all
costuming,
matte paintings and stuff like
when
that.
we were talking about the costumes too, the what do they call
the rag hat?
the rag hat?
Rag hat that I'm gonna start wearing.
But I mean, somebody like these costumes are immaculate and beautiful. And the other thing that I liked, there's one scene at the end of this where the Red Death gets him or whatever. And so like blood is coming down his face. However they did it from his hat was beautiful because it's, and I'm fascinated with the use of blood. Not in real life, but just makeuping or what's it called?
Special effects.
Special effects. And then at one point he does this, and you can see it going up into his mouth and his nose, and that man does not move.
That's because he is a national treasure.
But I'm telling you, like these people, they were in it back then.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if people would say that still.
They do it for these.
But
horror
there's like
films
blood
and
in their
stuff,
eye, in his eyeballs, and his nose, and he's just like blood.
Well, it's also funny to watch.
It's so cool.
Movies back then like these were done like theater.
Yes, very much.
The sometimes the overacting and the over enunciation or the falls being
this set was
because it was all meant to, the idea of making sure you catch it on camera.
Yeah.
You know, and the ridiculous nature of stuff. And there's like a panoramic view at one point. Everything's all distorted, but it's not on purpose. It's because it's the camera using.
Yeah. Panovision.
Yeah. So.
Anyway. Okay. Tell me what's coming out on there.
I gotta pop that, don't I? Oh no.
4K or
we're not doing the contest first.
No, it's always last.
Oh, we do the contest first.
Okay.
No, okay.
Do the contest first.
I'll do what's coming out. This week's not a huge week for new stuff. We get a lot of 4K releases. There is. This person needs to check their website because they have a misspelling. But Top Gun Maverick is coming out this week.
Oh, really?
For Blu-ray 4K.
I'd be ready to watch that again.
According to this website, Top Gunner Maverick is coming out. And this is a major website. This is not a.
Send them a message.
Yeah, they need an editor.
Here,
but stuff like Starship Troopers is getting the 25th anniversary 4K. Elf is getting the 4K release.
Oh, Elf.
A Christmas Story is getting a 4K release, which is not surprising. Getting ready for the new Christmas Story movie that's hitting HBO Max in a couple weeks. The Polar Express is getting a 4K release. Christmas Vacation, The Running Man. So there's a lot of 4K release stuff coming out. A lot of the releases start slowing down at this time of year because they want to get stuff out for the holidays, but they also know that a lot of people aren't buying stuff. I mean, going to be watching stuff on the holidays. So
correct, they might buy them for gifts. Okay, we're updated. Okay, coming out at the theater online, guys. It's like November now. It's going to be November.
Oh, wow.
So now we're looking at November movies. So coming out on Tuesday, November 1st on Video Demand and Digital is a movie called The Ambush. It's following the story of these UN soldiers or something who are trying to get out after being attacked. They're pinned down in their armored vehicle in a remote canyon, and they are just waiting for someone to come and rescue them. Coming out on Wednesday, November 2nd, to Peacock is a movie called The Independent. This has John Cena. I don't know anything about this. You might. It's a journalist who uncovers a conspiracy and about a potential presidential candidate, and it's coming to Peacock. So I
do know about that.
Okay. Yeah. So that's on Wednesday. Coming out Friday to theaters, the movie Armageddon Time, starring Anne Hathaway, Robert De Niro, Anthony Hopkins, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, this one's got a lot of people.
Woo! This is a coming-of-age story. It says based off screenwriter James Gray's childhood during the Reagan era. So we liked Reagan, I think, back in the day. All right. Coming out on Video Demand and Digital, another movie called The Minute You Wake Up. This is Morgan Freeman, so I'm there. I have no idea what's happening. It's a stockbroker.
I don't know. You got to be careful
because
because Morgan Freeman will show up in some straight-to-video thing.
A stockbroker in a small town finds out he's been involved. Oh, no. We find out he's been involved in some insurance scam and potentially multiple murders. So we're going to see what's up with that. Coming to Apple TV, we've both been waiting on this one. This is the documentary on Selena Gomez. Yeah, you told me about it. Selena Gomez.
I'm not gonna. I'm not
My Mind and Me. It's a new documentary about her life. I'm excited for this. Coming to Netflix this week on Friday. Enola Holmes Part 2.
I mean, we got to rewatch the first one.
We are going to rewatch the first one. This is what's her name? Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill. And in this one, it looks like they're both chasing down independent project mysteries that kind of intersect. And she's all like, "Why are you here?" And he's like, "Why are you here?" So it's going to be fun. I really like that. Coming to Prime Video, the movie My Policeman. This stars Harry Styles. Yep.
I've been hearing a lot about
and this is the story about a love triangle between two people who are madly in love with him. So interesting. Is Harry Styles out of trouble now? Or is he still in trouble?
He was never in
whatever.
trouble.
Okay. Video Demand and Digital. Merry Christmas, Officer Hansel. This is about a canine dog and his he's Officer Hansel on a mission to save Christmas. Okay. Coming to Roku TV. We're going to have to go to your parents' house and watch their Roku TV.
I'm hoping they'll send me a copy of it. I want to reach back up.
Guys.
I'm so excited
for this. This is Weird, the Al Yankovic story with Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al, which he seems too small. Because Weird Al's a very tall dude.
Weird Al's tall, but I think...
But that's okay. Yeah. We're going to make it work. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Coming to Video Demand and Digital, Girl at the Window. It's about a teenage girl who begins to suspect that her mother's boyfriend might be a serial killer.
What's kind of sad, a news article just came up with an interview with Weird Al. Was like, talking about how he had really wished Coolio was here to see the movie. Because they had a big issue. They had a fight back when he did Amish Paradise. And Coolio didn't like it, and it became this fight. But don't they have
to ask him permission?
He doesn't have to ask anybody. He does it. He asks out of courtesy, and usually, if somebody says no, he doesn't do it. I don't know the entire story, but I always know there was a lot of beef between him and Coolio for years. But then they made up and became friends. And then, of course, Weird Al posted a whole thing about when Coolio died, a whole thing about them and pictures of them together, and he just talked about recently wishing Coolio had been here to see the movie. I'm assuming that means Coolio was probably in the movie, a character.
Yeah, that's fun. Him. Okay, this is a movie I want to see. It's a comedy. It's on Video Demand and Digital called I'm Totally Fine. It's about a girl.
You only want to see because Jillian Bell, don't you?
Maybe, but I also think it's so funny. It's bizarre. It's this girl, Vanessa. Her best friend, Jennifer, has died. So she's like, I need to get away, clear my head. She comes back, and Jennifer's in her kitchen. And she's like, "Oh, I'm actually an alien that's come back to spend time with you." And I'm like, "What?"
Do you know who Jillian Bell is?
Yeah, I think so.
Once you see who it is, you'll be like, "Oh, yes."
But this looks hilarious to me. Okay. I think that's it. There's a bunch of things.
There's one other one that...
Apple TV Plus, Causeway. This is the new film with Jennifer Lawrence. It's about she's a soldier who comes back home to New Orleans and is having trouble kind of adjusting to normal life. So I think that's going to be probably a good one. Ooh, coming to Shudder. There's so many movies this week. Satan's Slaves, Communion.
Oh, I don't have my glasses on,
what
so I had a whole better movie.
Oh.
I thought it was Santa's Slaves, Communion.
Oh, it's
Satan.
And
I'm like, hells yeah.
Oh, wow. This is a family who are living in like kind
family film.
No, it's a family living in a rundown apartment. And after escaping, it says the terror from their mother who was trying to kill them, and now something else is trying to kill. I don't even know. Something's trying to kill them. Video Demand and Digital, Soft and Quiet. Okay, now this is the kind of movies I like. It's in real time, so it's one of those real time movies.
It's in real time. So
but you know what I mean. Like, remember that Johnny Depp movie was the first one to do it. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Nick of Time.
Nick of Time. I loved that movie.
Horrible movie.
I liked it.
I love Johnny Depp, but that movie's not good.
She's trying to, I don't know, help this.
Move on.
Well, it doesn't matter. Okay. This is going to be interesting.
Another one that I believe we probably said last week was already out, but it didn't open until it's opening in Dallas this week, which is The Banshees of Inisherin.
Yes.
That's the one that with Colin Farrell. That I'll talk about next week that you didn't get to see yet. Yeah. But I'll talk about next week.
All right. There you go. Now, tell me about the contest.
And then we also got to talk about our Halloween movies real fast.
Oh.
Want to do that first?
Do it, yeah.
I'll let you go ahead.
All right. So what did you pick? Oh, I'm going first.
Yeah, let you go first.
Okay. Boo, boo, boo. So I don't know that this is really a Halloween movie.
We went with just horror element.
It's just kind of creepy. I don't think it's even super scary. It's the movie Stigmata, which was one of my favorites.
Mine is autographed.
Starring Patricia Arquette. My copy is autographed because I stood in line for this autograph.
Oh, but that's my copy of the movie.
This is mine that was autographed. It is now mine. Anyway, starring Patricia Arquette. It's where she suddenly begins receiving the stigmata, which are the sufferings that Christ received while he was being crucified. So it's a really interesting story. I really like this, and I vividly remember meeting Patricia Arquette, and she's a little bit different.
Yeah, she's always been
kind of artsy.
Because I got
weird.
my true romance sign the same day.
So this is a good movie. I'm going to watch this again. I really, really like this. And I like me some Gabriel Byrne.
This entire show is basically you telling everybody who you're hot for.
I don't know now. He might be super old.
So I went with a classic, and I went with it for a reason.
Okay.
I'm picking a franchise.
Oh.
The original movies are the best, as usual. But I went with the franchise because of a current release and still a present-day occurrence of said character. And I'm going with the Child's Play franchise.
You were so excited about Child's Play right now.
So the reason I'm going with this is because Shout Factory has released part 1, 2, and 3 on 4K.
Nice.
They've been out for a few months now. I just got them. But even more important, there's a TV series called Chucky that is a continuation of the movie series. So it's not a separate thing.
Right.
And if you don't know the movie series, I've brought them out for you.
Oh my gosh. How many are there?
Well, there's 7.
Wow.
So there's 8 technically, I believe, because there's the remake as well.
I've seen like 1 or 2.
So this is the box set that actually has all of them except for the Cult of Chucky. So you have Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3. So that's these 3. These are on glorious 4K.
Nice.
These 3 were the last ones that even referred to themselves as Child's Play.
Right.
Then it shifted to the Chucky moniker. Because then you have Bride of Chucky, which introduced Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly's character. Seed of Chucky, which brought in Glenda. Then you have Curse of Chucky, which was kind of a remake, if you will, of what we thought was a whole different thing. And then the end of the movie, you realize, oh no, it is connected. And it stars, I always forget her last name.
So I have seen more than I thought.
Fiona Dourif, who is the real life daughter of Brad Dourif, who is the voice of Chucky. And he also played the killer guy. And then there's the Cult of Chucky that continued that storyline, and you brought in Tiffany, and the events of this movie lead directly into the TV series.
The TV show. I gotcha.
And then you have this Child's Play, which is the remake that they did that has Mark Hamill doing the voice of Chucky.
He's so good at voices.
I really dug the remake. I mean, nothing replace the other ones, but I thought it was a really good with the dolls more robot related instead of cursed.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah, it made it more real, a little creepier. But yeah, I just love the tone of the movies. Like the original movie and Curse of Chucky are both more along the horror, scarier vibe. Even though you get a little ridiculousness because of the doll. Then it went in just like Nightmare on Elm Street, where they went into kind of the funny, goofy silliness. 3 is also not only is it the last one that branded the Child's Play name, it's also the only one that has a different actor playing Andy. And that's because the first one did so well, they were making the second one. They got Don Mancini to go ahead and said, go ahead and start the third movie. But this movie jumps like 8 years, and the actor Alex Vincent can't play 8-year-older kid than he was in this movie. What a movie that comes out the next year.
But he is in the TV show, right?
He is. Well, he's also came back for some of these other ones, and he is in the TV show as well.
Nice. Cool.
And Jennifer Tilly's in the TV show, and Tiffany, and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
As well as this week, spoiler, Meg Tilly shows up, which is awesome. So anyway, so I love the Child's Play stuff. I know
that's a lot of Child's Play.
It is.
Lots
Problem
of
is I have these 4Ks and I need 3 more from this to replace this set in 4K. If not, I got to keep this set.
Yeah.
Well, and I need anyway.
But
while I'm mentioning this, even though it's not part of this franchise, I want to throw out there that Shout Factory, who also put out these Child's Play ones, also put out 2 different sets. This is the more recent one, which is the Halloween 4K collection, 1995 to 2002. So this will be the one that most people may not want. But this is the Curse of Michael Myers, H2O, and Resurrection.
I liked H2O.
Oh, H2O is actually good.
It's a fun movie.
Most people like H2O. Okay, Resurrection is the worst movie in the entire franchise.
I thought Season of the Witch would be.
No, Season of Witch is awesome.
It just has nothing to.
She's
I mean,
nothing to
it's
do with
just
Mike Myers.
different.
Season of Witch is Resurrection is the one. The only
Which
thing
is
really
that
good
one?
about this one is this is the one with Busta Rhymes fights Michael Myers.
I don't know if I remember this.
This one is this is the movie where they first kill Jamie Lee Curtis. Because she did not want to do this movie because she thought she had a good finale in H2O, so they brought her back. She agreed, I'll come back if you kill me.
Okay.
They kill her off in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. And then the rest of the movie is about a reality show because this came out during the rise of all the reality TV. The reality show, and they were shooting it inside Michael Myers' house. Because that's always a smart plan.
I don't really remember. I'll go watch it.
I would implore you to not watch this movie.
Well, because when the new one came out, I just watched the last three. The
Curse of Michael Myers is the one that has a young Paul Rudd in his first film, which some people like to think Clueless is his first film, but in reality, this movie and Clueless were made around the same time. This movie came out first, so this movie is capitalized as his first film, and he wishes Clueless was his first film because most everybody disowns that film. They also recast Danielle Harris in this movie as her character, so that sucked.
That's so funny.
Anyway, they have another collection just like this that features the other 5 movies before this. That's a cool collection. They're 4K. So good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, then.
Moving on.
Okay. Tell me our contests. We'll make it big on the screen here.
All right. So this week we don't have a lot of new stuff. I don't know what all we had last. Well, we didn't tell you last week. So we have copies of ET on 4K to give away.
ET Phone Home.
That's right. It's like I don't know if it's like the 40th anniversary or something. I don't remember. 30th anniversary. I don't know. It's been out.
Are we that old?
Maybe it's 30th anniversary. I don't know. Yeah, we are. The movie came out in the 80s.
I remember the kids watching it.
Still have a couple copies of Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind.
That's the Mortal Kombat. It's like that.
Yes. Copies of The League of Super Pets.
This movie is so cute.
She finally saw it.
I finally finished it. I'd watched half of it. Oh, it's so cute. You got to watch it.
All right. We got copies of Joe Coy's Easter Sunday.
The best.
8-Bit Christmas.
Did we still have copies like digital or in that one? Or
waiting for the digitals to show up. I'm waiting for everything to show up on the Joe Coy. That's why Easter Sunday's still up, even though it's been out for a couple weeks.
But they were giving us things to give away. So
yeah, so they're supposed to be giving me digital copies and physical copies, and so there's supposed to be like 10 or 11 of them.
Sorry.
8-Bit Christmas, which was actually a fun little movie.
It was good.
And The Witch 2, the other one, which it's one of those movies she doesn't remember watching the first one, so
I don't
watch it. We'll have to rewatch it. Then we'll start watching it. She'll go, "Oh, this movie."
Yeah, that's happened. That normally happens.
And I'm pretty sure we can watch the first one on Hiya TV.
Hiya.
So anyway, that's what's happening.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Go find us on Instagram. Go check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Don't forget to click the contest button.
We're only on Spanish Twitter? That makes sense.
Yes. Right. That's why. Yeah. El Twitter.
Right. Peace and love, children. We'll be back next week for an all new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live.
See you later, alligator.